How's it going, guys? This is RaiderKnight, and today I've made a scenario kind of based off of Alternate History Hub's video, If Rome Never Existed. I think it's an interesting concept, and I really wanted to do a scenario based around it. So I tried my best, and I actually think it came out pretty good. So I'm just going to explain it because I think it needs to be explained because the borders, they don't really look that normal, but at the same time you have to take into consideration that without Rome, the entire geopolitical landscape of the entire world would be shifted. So I tried my best. I made something I think would be interesting, and I think it came out pretty good for a scenario based around if the Roman Empire, one of the most important landmarks of the human civilization, never existed. So I think Greece would actually not fall because it was Rome who led to Greece's collapse. So it's kind of unrealistic that Greece would survive forever. There would probably be something at some point that would challenge them and possibly lead them to collapse, like Carthage. But I still think Greece probably could survive because Carthage is majorly a trading kingdom, or at least they were. Uh, you might be asking, why does Carthage not have all these different places that they owned? I actually let them all go independent, so we have Genoa, which is independent, we have Sicily, we have the Knights, we have Provence, we have Catalonia, and we have Majorca, who are all independent for the most part. And I gave majority of all their claims independency, and yeah, they're all independent. I still think Castile would be a country regardless because they'd probably form up here, and I think a lot of these small countries around here would still exist. France would exist because Francia moves this way regardless due to the Huns. So France would actually still exist in this alternate timeline. The Tuscany would still exist. A lot of these small factions would exist, but you never really know completely. I just kind of threw them all here because I thought it looked good. Plus, I kind of had Greece invade all this for fun. And technically, Greece would have still invaded the Parthian Empire, but I wanted it to be kind of similar to Rome, where Greece falls apart. So just pretend like this is Western Greece and the Eastern Greece Empire. And eventually this one just turned into Persia because they really aren't at all very similar to regular Greece. They're so different of countries. So I just had this one form an entirely different country based off of the land it is in. So Persia, Persian Empire. Najd without the Ottomans would really become a world power down here. They have no Ottomans to worry about, so they could really do whatever they want. Ormus would probably still be independent and possibly be very similar to the Persian Empire, but I think they would be independent of everything else. So I gave them independence. I'm not sure if this is even accurate. They'd probably join Najd, but I'm not sure. Over here in India, I had the three strongest factions of the Indian subcontinent form up as the three major powers of the place. I think these three would probably be the big three to unite the entire region, so I kind of just gave them whatever I wanted to give them. I even gave this one all of Afghanistan and some stuff to the north, because I think the Huns would really, they'd expand a lot out here, and then they'd probably collapse and just overall form and give away all their land when they collapse, similar to how Mongolia collapsed. So I kind of based the Huns around a Mongolia type empire that would just expand and collapse into multiple different countries. In this case, there's like 5 countries it forms into, but it could probably be a lot bigger if it was taking over all that. I'm not sure how big the Huns would get, but my guess is they would collapse into multiple countries. I made this country just kind of a random one that got really big. And I made this one another kind of random one that just got really big. I'm not really sure what would happen in these regions if, like, Rome never existed. I'm pretty sure that these areas would just be really divided. So this isn't really that accurate, but I didn't want a divided border gore mess in Europe at the same time. So just for this, let's pretend that they all united and everything was perfect. I don't know. Over here, you have the Angles, you have the Swedes, you have Norway, you have Sami, and you have the Tavestians, however you pronounce that. And overall, they're all pretty weak countries. But without Rome, I'm pretty sure Norway would be the only one to ever colonize anything. So I gave Norway multiple things that they got. And I even gave them some over here, but we're just going to pretend that they gave it to the Cree and the Iroquois. I'm not sure how accurate that would be. Maybe that it'd all go independent as, like, I don't know, some brand new country. But I'm just going to give it to them. And I think the Picts wouldn't do too much either. I think they'd be one of the strongest countries on the English islands, but definitely, you know, there's still quite a bit of divide here, so I don't think anybody's really even close to a world power. They're all kind of weak. Over here in the Middle East, you have Jerusalem, that never fell. You have Tripoli, and you have the Egyptian Empire, which I have going communist, and I'm going to pretend that the Egyptian Empire, they spread south, and they attacked Songhai, who is also a fascist, and the Mamluks are communists, so this is a pretty evil-looking area. I'm kind of surprised how evil I made Africa, but it kind of makes sense. I think Egypt would really be aggressive to the south, and the Congo would really be aggressive to the south as well. So you have a lot of really weird divide going on here. Same with Carthage. I don't think Carthage would remain an empire forever. They gave away all their claims, and Songhai invaded a lot of their land that I gave them over here in Algeria. Morocco even can't survive without Songhai invading them. So these countries are all really poor right now. And even Libya went independent from Carthage, because I gave this to Carthage as well. So Carthage is in a really bad situation. I'm not sure if they'll survive or not in the future, but they somehow are still here. Over here in Indonesia, you have the Majapahit Empire that I probably didn't even pronounce correctly. They gained quite a bit of land, and they go all the way even over here. So they have a lot of land. Over here in Australia, you have the Kori, you have the Tiwi, and you have the Noongar empires, none of which are really that powerful except for the Kori. And over here you have the Maori, so they're pretty powerful. And then you have Japan, which Japan spread all over the place, so they're like all over. But Japan is a very powerful monarchy. And they even own some of Alaska in this scenario, so Japan is definitely overall a world power. I think they're one of the strongest countries if Rome never existed. Nobody would really come to the New World and colonize it, I don't think. I think a lot of these bigger tribes would form, you know, a little bit more united countries, and they'd kind of push people back before they got there. Ming, they are pretty powerful. Without the Mongolian Empire forming up due to the Huns invading everything and not like collapsing due to, well, not collapsing quickly due to the Rome never existing, I think Ming would mostly go to the north. And due to the Huns being all over this region, you'd probably still see a wall go up just in case. If the Huns invaded, but I'm not sure. This is kind of just whatever. I could have fixed it probably. Over here in Siam, they're independent and they own a little bit more land than usual. And they're losing a little bit from Bengal. So a great conflict occurred at some point and they kind of just evened out the border. And then you have an independent Madagascar, which is a communist country, and they own both of these islands. So pretty cool, pretty cool. Over here you have the Incan Empire, which controls majority of South America. I believe they would be the most powerful country just because they already controlled so much, and they were working on uniting all the tribes in their area, so they are definitely a world power, possibly the strongest in the game, but it's debatable. I think they're the second. No, they are the strongest in the game. So the Inca are the strongest country in the game. Greece being the only one who even comes close. Over here is the Aztec Empire and the Itza Empire. The Pueblo, the Apache, the Pawnee, the Miami, the Choctaw, the Creek, the Cherokee, the Iroquois, the Mezquaca, I've never been able to pronounce it, the Cree, the Sioux, and the Shoshone. So, multiple large Indian tribes that have formed their own little empires, some of which, like the Pawnee, are weak, and then some of which, like the Aztecs, are really powerful, and the Shoshone even are really powerful. A lot of these are kind of weak, but the Iroquois even have a pretty strong little country for themselves as well. So, definitely the Iroquois could become a fun one to play as, but yeah, this is my If Rome Never Existed scenario. Hopefully you guys thought it was cool. It definitely takes a lot of overall creative liberty in this one because it's not really that realistic. Because, well, obviously, without Rome, you really can't know what the world would look like perfectly. Rome had such an influential, what's the word? Influential story and overall paved a lot of what we call our modern Europe, modern America, modern everything. So without Rome, you really change the entire world as a whole, and it's very difficult to come up with a theory to what it would look like, but I tried my best. I think it's whatever, and I think it's good enough. Don't judge my amazing scenario. Overall, though, I'll see you all in the next one, and peace.